Oh, excuse me.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on whenever you're watching. Thank you for tuning in to episode 110 of the Restricted Zone podcast. Bro, these episodes starting to fly by, man. Like, we already up to 110.
Oh, real
We did, we,
facts.
we
We're
just got
doing
on
this for a
YouTube
minute.
about like a month or so ago, and oddly enough, our most viewed video is our first WWE themed episode, and this is our second themed episode for WWE, for wrestling in general, because there's three pay-per-views coming up this weekend. We're recording this on Thursday night. We have three. We have Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow. We have three pay-per-views and two nights over the weekend. Of course, the majority of this episode will be about Night of Champions, Saturday afternoon, not Saturday night, because they're halfway across the world over in Saudi Arabia. So that will be in the afternoon on Saturday. But there's a bit of a layover, and then Sunday afternoon, excuse me, we have NXT Battleground. And then later that night, we have AEW's 2023 edition of Double or Nothing. So, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. Share this out to all the homies who are tuning in to their pay-per-views this weekend or whichever ones you decide to watch. I'm going to try to tune in for all three. Definitely tune in for Night of Champions. Double or Nothing, I feel like that Anarchy in the Arena match might be worth the $50, $60, whatever they're charging. So let's just get right into it. We're going to go down the match card. There's 7 matches on the card for Night of Champions. It's going to go one by one. 5 of these, I believe, yes, 5 of these matches are for championships. Don't you remember the days when Night of Champions, every single match was a championship match? Like, what happened to that? What happened to that?
I don't know.
That grinds my gears, man. Like,
It's weird. Watching the pay per view called Night of Champions, and then realizing like one of first of all things. Let's just get that out the way.
yes, I
Roman
was going to mention that too.
Roman Reigns as a tag team competitor,
Your top champion, your undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion, and he's not defending that championship on the card, on a pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever, called Night of Champions. Yes, he's in a championship match, but it's not his championship that he's defending. That just rubs me the wrong. Like, I know what they're doing. I see the vision. I see where the story is going, where it's headed for SummerSlam, but I don't like it. Like, your top champion needs to be defending his championship. First of all,
right? They're not even on the line. Like they could at least put the towels on the line. They're not even on the line. Now I understand
that would make the finish kind of predictable though.
I know. But I'm just saying.
But it's like, oh my goodness. Like on any pay-per-view, even if it was like a Backlash or Elimination Chamber, Great Balls of Fire, I don't care. Like, Night of Champions?
No undisputed titles being defended.
And again, he's there. He's
no SmackDown Women's Champion being defended. No United States Champion being defended.
Well, the SmackDown Women's title is getting defended, but the U.S. title isn't.
Oh, I forgot because they threw that little match together last minute, bro.
Yeah,
like
that just we'll get to that. And no U.S. title match. There's only 7 matches on the card. You tell me you couldn't fit an 8th match? It's Night of Champions. You don't have that many championships because you combined 4 of them into 2. So it's like, I don't get it, man. But we're gonna start with probably the most intriguing match on the card for me personally, and that is the World Heavyweight Championship match between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. The World Heavyweight Championship, we keep calling it the new World Heavyweight Championship because we haven't seen it for a decade, but this title, I'm being told, will carry the same lineage as the old big gold world title that we saw get handed to Triple H literally, and he had a vice grip on it for about 3 years, and we've seen it throughout the Ruthless Aggression era, the PG era, and a little bit of the reality era up until 2013, where Randy Orton merged that championship with the WWE title to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And, he carried both belts around, and then Daniel Bryan won him at WrestleMania, and then Brock Lesnar. But that lineage technically ended when Randy Orton won it because he merged the belts together. And then once Brock won it, they did away with the big gold, and then they took the WWE title and just gave it a little revamped look with the new logo on there, and that's just what they've been running with since. And then they added the Universal title, which Roman holds to this day. So, because of that, he's had a stranglehold like Triple H, but even worse, because Triple H, his reigns were kind of broken up. He had guys come in and win, from time to time. Shawn Michaels, Goldberg, Randy Orton, had little short stints with the belt. Chris Benoit, that guy. Can we mention him? Should we mention him?
I mean, we can, but
we're not WWE, so we can't mention him. But I kind of feel dirty saying his name. But, Chris Benoit, he won the title as well. Had a good few months with it. But, Roman Reigns right now, he's got a stranglehold of championships. So that's exactly why we're having this match, this tournament that set this whole thing up about a month ago. And this is a match that we've seen before on pay-per-view. We've seen for a championship on pay-per-view. Money in the Bank 2019 was a tremendous match that Seth Rollins won. These two have had 5 televised matches, and Rollins have won 4 out of 5. So, Chris, I'll go to you. Who's walking out of Saudi Arabia with the World Heavyweight Championship as the new World Heavyweight Champion, not the new, World Champion?
All right, before I get started, let me introduce myself to the audience real fast.
Yes.
It's the man.
Where are my manners?
It's the myth. It's the legend. It's your boy Breezy here. We back for another banger like
and I'm your host,
said.
Jonah Wooten. I'm your host.
Yes.
Where are my manners at? Excuse me.
You are perfectly fine. For all those that didn't know, check out episode 108, which just been posted, or 109. I might be getting the numbers wrong, and I apologize for that. So I'm just saying, talk about a little NBA basketball. The Nuggets.
You got
NBA Finals.
And please go check that episode out.
We talk a little about the Lakers, a little about Melo. All right, now to get to
LeBron stealing all the headlines.
Yeah, I don't
about
know
his
why.
retirement. We know that man not retiring yet until his boys get in the league. Come on now.
Yep. That man playing until he's at least 45. Watch.
If Tom could do it, he can.
Exactly. All right, now to get to this match. So I really wasn't a fan of how the tournament played out. Like, I do like the match now that it came to the conclusion. Like, I do like the idea of Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, but that's not really the match I wanted to see. And normally, WWE tries to stray away from doing a face versus face or a heel versus heel championship match. So the fact that we're kind of getting a face versus face, I can understand why they're doing it, and for the sole purpose of bringing back the World Heavyweight title, but I'm not necessarily a fan of it. I think it's going to be an exceptional match because both AJ Styles and Seth Rollins are incredible performers. They put on 5-star matches their entire career. But I think I'm going to stay true to what I've been believing since before the tournament started. I feel like Seth Rollins has to be the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion. Because you just look at it. I mean, one, the OC just got drafted to SmackDown. So it'd be kind of weird if you just now take, because AJ Styles goes to Raw, because it's supposed to be a Raw title. So now think about it like this. Is the whole OC going to go to Raw? Is just AJ Styles going to go to Raw? You can't split them up. AJ Styles is not going to allow that. So why would a SmackDown superstar win the big gold belt 2.0? Big gold belt 2.0. That's what we'll call it from now on. That's what I'm going to call it from now on.
No, I can rock with that.
Yeah, big gold belt 2.0.
Or BG 2.0.
Yep.
Either way.
Yes. So I feel like it just has to be Seth. It's just right for the taking. I mean, I talked about in our last wrestling episode how Seth Rollins was able to find his character again, and now he has the entire, I wouldn't say the entire fan base behind him, basically the entire country behind him. And I promise you, in Saudi Arabia tomorrow, we're going to hear one of the loudest chants that we ever heard for Seth Rollins. Uh, I think it's going to be an incredible match. I think they're both going to put on a hell of a show. But I feel like at the end of the day, Seth Rollins has to come out with the title. And I mean, definitely considering the fact that outside of Night of Champions, Roman Reigns isn't really going to be around like that. I mean, yes, he's going to come at SummerSlam. Yes, he'll be there, maybe Survivor Series. But you got to think about it. If SummerSlam's in August, Survivor Series is in November, you need somebody that's going to at least have a world title defend a world title during that time frame. Seth Rollins will do that. I feel like it's just perfect for the taking right now. And the stars are aligning for Seth Rollins to get another very dominant title run until whoever decides to show up and beat him beats him. And honestly, if we're looking to the future, I wouldn't mind seeing. This is gonna sound weird, but I wouldn't mind seeing Cody Rhodes beat him down the line. Just it will bring their rivalry a little bit full circle. I don't know if Cody Rhodes will want to do that because he talks about finishing the story and win the
Yeah,
undisputed title. Plus, due to the fact that if he
that's
ends up
got to
winning the
be it
world,
for him.
it has to, because it would just be weird. But I wouldn't mind seeing that because to me that'll bring their rivalry, the respective rivalry, full circle. Remember when Cody Rhodes first came back at WrestleMania, he was fighting Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, quote unquote, put him on the shelf because after they shook hands the night after Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins attacked him. Now, obviously, we know he did that just to fight him on television, but when you look at it, Seth Rollins attacked him. So why wouldn't Cody Rhodes want to go after the belt that Seth Rollins won? I mean, again, I know they're probably not going to do it, but it'd be fun to see outside. I would not see another match of Cody versus Seth.
I wouldn't either, but I feel like that's the wrong championship to do it for. I feel like we will get that match in the near future, and it will be for a world championship. Just don't think it'll be the world heavyweight championship. I think, Cody in Philly will finish the story, and then he'll defend that title somewhere down the line against Seth. Maybe SummerSlam 2024. No, we just long booking a year in advance now. But hey, I'm just saying, just bookmark this. Keep that in your mind. Those are my long-term plans for Seth and Cody because I feel like we do need at least one more match between those two, and I think Seth needs to get some bit of a rub back because he lost 3 straight times on pay-per-view to that man. And Seth, I know this is probably a bit of a thank you. This World Heavyweight Championship is a bit of a thank you for that, but I think Cody personally needs to give him that, thank you for establishing him when he first came back to WWE. But for this match on Saturday, I feel like I agree. I mean, it has to be Seth. It has to be. But I wouldn't be mad if it was AJ either. But it feels like, well, logically, it just makes the most sense because they're not going to just take the whole OC and move them to Raw. I mean, they were drafted together, but with the World Heavyweight Championship, that's just for the guy who won it. So they're not going to move all of them. That just will defeat the whole purpose of the draft anyways. And it just feels like Seth Rollins has been the guy who the fan base has gravitated the most towards in recent months. And you can, think a lot of that towards his theme song. It's catchy. It's easy to sing along to. You can call it, a cheap pop or cheap heat, whatever you want to say. But listen, he's got the fans in his hands right now. He's got them. So he is, what's the word I'm looking for? The rooting interest amongst the WWE universe. The only thing, and I said it in our group chat, the only thing that may, hinder his chances of winning the world title right away is that he's been filming. He's been in, I believe, Atlanta, filming some scenes for Captain America, New World Order, the first Sam Wilson Cap movie that I'm big excited for, for Marvel because they kind of pulled me back in with Guardians 3. Not to make this a Marvel, episode, but they kind of pulled me back in a little bit. So like I'm a little excited, and I love Sam Wilson. I love that character, so I'm excited for that movie. And I think he's going to be part of the Serpent Society. I think it's like a villain group that one of those Sam Wilson cap villains. So, you know, he's been filming some scenes for that. He's been away, you know. Then I'm like, maybe, you know, he can, you know, work around that and, you know, still be world champion. I don't know how long it'll take to film the scenes. It could be weeks, maybe months. I don't know how big his role will be in the movie. So like maybe he's probably already done filming all his scenes. Maybe he just got it done in 1 week and he's just good to go now. So, you know, that might not mean anything. And then you know, the past couple of weeks they've been filming this sit down interview with Corey Graves, and he's talking about his whole career in WWE, and he's talking about his like they're showing, you know, the same old footage they always show of him as a kid, you know, kind of like pulling the heartstrings a little bit. Like it's like, all right, they're kind of making it obvious. This is their guy for this new championship. It's just he's the clear away favorite right now. If you were able to bet on this, Seth is he's the guy, point blank. Again, AJ Styles, I wouldn't be incredibly mad if he were to win a championship because it's been a while since he's been a world champion, but I feel like just not now, not yet. If you were to give AJ the belt, cool. He doesn't really need it. And Rollins, he's a made guy too. He doesn't technically need it, but we the fans need a champion right now because Roman Reigns, he's doing the Brock thing. He's doing the Brock thing, and being a bit of a hypocrite, honestly. But he is getting older. He's 38. He's got a lot of kids. I get it. He's probably just worn out. I get it. But you're still the champion. You still need to be at least on television. You don't got to wrestle every week. You surpassed that. We're not even asking all that. We just want to see you. Cut a promo. Go on the commentary. Do something in the backstage. Like, we just need to be seen. So Rollins is a guy, and the World Heavyweight Championship is a title that will allow us to see a world champion every week. Somebody who will go on the house show circuit. They call it live events now. Who will go on a live event circuit and go town to town with that world title and have people pay money to show up and see a world champion every night. That's what you need. Seth Rollins is the perfect guy to ask to do that. I don't think he's going to have a lengthy run, though, because I feel like, again, with Roman having a chokehold in the championships on SmackDown, I feel like there's a lot of guys who could use a world title run right now. Guys like Lashley, guys like Gunther down the line, guys like Sheamus, guys like, you know, Edge maybe one last time. I think he's on SmackDown, though, but, you know, maybe a Finn Balor, maybe they run that back at SummerSlam. That would be very poetic from 7 years ago. Run that match back. So there's a lot of guys who can use the belt. So I don't think Seth will have a lengthy reign, and it'll kind of defeat the purpose with Roman having his lengthy reign right now. You already got Gunther, you got Bianca having lengthy reigns. So it's like he's going to be able to establish it, though. You know, 2 or 3 months, he'll establish that title. He'll make it relevant. He'll make it important. And honestly, this is a match that should be main eventing Night of Champions. I don't think it will because they're doing that triple main event thing again. So I feel like the tag match. Yeah, you didn't see?
No.
Yeah, bro.
No.
Yes.
No.
So I don't think this match is going to main event the card, which is incredibly dumb because
It
they're trying to
better.
establish this. They're trying
It
to
better.
establish his title, bro, and they're going to make Roman the main event. He's
No,
Roman Reigns.
you could put him
I'm
in the. You
telling
could
you.
put him. He could be the He could be the midway point match. That'd be the perfect spot for him. That's the perfect spot. If you have
This
3
might
main
open the
events,
show. I'm starting a video with this. I feel like it's going to open the show. I'm telling you, it's going to open the show.
no. If
I'm
you have
telling
3,
you it will.
if you have 3 main events, you have a
And
main
Brock
event to open. You have a main event to open the show. If that main event's Bianca versus Asuka,
it'll be Brock and Cody if it. I feel
that's
like
cool too.
because they're doing
That's
that.
cool
They did
too.
that with Backlash.
Yeah, which is cool. They could do that. Let them open the show at the midway point. Have the tag team title match. You can still build your story about what happens afterwards, and we'll all still be excited about it. But to crown a new world heavyweight champion, that's got to be the main event. That has to be the last match of the night.
Listen, I know how this company operates. I'm telling you, I can guarantee you, it may not open the show, but it's not going to main event. I guarantee you, Roman's going to be the main event. I guarantee it. I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
I hope you are too.
But I just got that feeling that's where they're going. And speaking of Brock versus Cody, that's up next. I don't know where this isn't going in order of where I think the matches will all go. I just started with AJ and Seth first. But up next, Brock and Cody, one of two non-title matches on this card again. I think that's just why. I know why you got to keep the story going, but I feel like on a pay-per-view called Night of Champions, every match should be a title match. My camera fell over because I'm banging the table because I'm upset. But I don't know, man. You got to keep the story going. So all right, they should have just named it something else. It was King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring. Then they changed it to Night of Champions. Should have just changed it to whatever. You're in Saudi Arabia. Who really cares? Nevertheless, Cody defeated Brock at Backlash. This is a rematch of last month's pay-per-view, or earlier this month's pay-per-view, I should say. And, Brock came back and just beat the hell out of Cody, cost him, a spot in the World Heavyweight Championship tournament finals. And he's just been beating the hell out of him for weeks now. I think he broke his arm last Monday. He had that, long sit-down talk. Cody had that long sit-down talk with Triple H, at the end of the show, trying to set something up maybe. Just give him some sympathy, he's really the only, white meat baby face this company has right now. And I get that kids still do watch this. We are, Twitter fans, YouTube, YouTube wrestling community. A lot of us are grown now. We kind of look at wrestling differently than when we, were first starting watching this as kids. We're kind of jaded in our opinions. We're kind of just grumpy old people now. But kids still watch this. Got to remember that. This product is still for kids, even though the majority of the audience are adults. Kids still do watch this, and they still need a white meat baby face to cheer for. Seth Rollins technically is a baby face now, but he's not, the nicest, guy to root for. He can still be a bit of a, a little bit of a prick sometimes. All right. But Cody is, he's just all American, white skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, even with the neck tat. He's just the all American good guy. All right. And that's totally fine. Some people don't like it. I'm cool with it. But they're building this sympathy thing up. Brock and Cody. I feel like this may, shift towards Brock's way because of the hurt arm. That's clearly being set up in an angle for that match. I don't think this is going to be a long match. I'm just going to do my prediction first because I feel like this is going to be a squash. Personally, I think they're going to even the series up and they're going to kind of cool it down for Money in the Bank because I think Cody Rhodes will be a part of the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I think Brock will cost him. Not to just jump ahead because we got to do our Money in the Bank preview next month. But I think this is all going to come to a head at SummerSlam, and this match will just be another building block towards that. So, Brock squash, give it about 3 or 4 minutes. Bada bing, bada boom. How do you feel?
So, I'm just get this one over with really fast because, to be completely honest, this is probably the least hypest match that I'm looking forward to seeing on Saturday. I mean, and like you said, it seems like
second
they're
least
doing
for me. Second least.
Second least.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like they're doing the same build up that Cody had before Hell in a Cell. Now, obviously, they set it up differently because Cody Rhodes had a legitimate injury while training due to what I call or what I believe was just a storyline injury. But he could actually, he might actually be hurt, but I look at it as like, okay, he's kind of, like you said, doing that sympathy thing for him again. So he has to act, he has a bad arm right now. I do think it's going to be a squash match. I agree with you on that. But I feel like the outcome is just going to end in a DQ. I feel like nobody's going to win the match. Whether that's Cody just saying, I can't take the pain anymore and just hit someone with a chair for revenge for hurting his arm. Whether Brock Lesnar just realizes that he can't beat Cody and decides to hold in the Kimura lock for longer than 5 seconds, or the same thing, grabs a chair, hits Cody with it, then hits him with an F5 through the announcer table. Like, I agree with you that as of right now, it looks
Well,
like they're
actually makes a
building
lot of
this.
sense.
It could. I agree with you on the fact that this is probably building up towards SummerSlam. And no doubt, probably after the match happens tomorrow, there might be a little break for Brock Lesnar, or not tomorrow, Saturday. There's going to be a little break for Brock Lesnar. I now agree with you because it might happen at Money in the Bank. He might cost him the
Yeah.
Money in the Bank ladder match, which does make a lot of sense if they're building towards SummerSlam with this match.
And if
So,
he wins, not to cut you off, but if he wins Saturday, and it's kind of like, you don't have to, interfere. But if he loses by DQ, then it's like, dang, I still ain't beat him. I beat the crap out of him, but he's still won in the books.
yeah. The only thing I'm looking for is what I'm still not understanding is just why the storyline in the first place. Like, I understand him losing in WrestleMania. He needs to find opponents to face, just to make up around the year, and I get that. I'm not even mad at the fact that he's facing Brock Lesnar, but it's just the storyline. I'm not bought into it. Personally, I'm not. Like, you could everything that's happened so far, in my opinion at least, has been very predictable. I thought it was very predictable the night after WrestleMania when Brock turned on him. There was only when Paul Heyman made that descriptive announcement. There was only one person that you could think of that could actually do that. And when was the last time we saw Brock Lesnar in a tag team match? Like, come on now. Who bought into that? The last time Brock Lesnar was in a tag team match had to be 2004 maybe? 2003 Survivor Series? Team Angle versus Team Lesnar? Like,
he's been back since 2012, bro. I don't think he's been in a tag match.
Exactly.
And why would he?
Exactly. So what was the purpose of putting him in this tag match? Especially since he has nothing to gain from fighting Roman or Solo. So, like, that was predictable. It was predictable to me that Cody would find a way to win at Backlash. That was predictable. It's predictable that Brock Lesnar, I ain't done yet, comes back, decides to actually hurt Cody. Like, that's predictable. Like, everything in the storyline's been very predictable, which is why I'm not looking forward to this match of Saturday. I just hope that ends in the DQ or the match doesn't last longer than, honestly, 5 minutes, so they can just get that, pardon my French, so they can just get that shit over with. Just because I really don't want to see it. I just want that match to be the fastest match on that card. Because I'm just not bought into the story. Like, I understand you tried, but this ain't it. So please get this story over with so Cody can go on to face his next competitor, whoever that may be. I prefer Gunther, regardless if it's for the title or not. I prefer him fighting Gunther because I think that would be an exciting match.
Please. SummerSlam or WrestleMania. I don't care.
But as of right now, yeah, exactly. But as of right now, I'm tired of this Brock and Cody thing. I just want this to get over. So we just move on. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I hear you, bro. The DQ. I do like the DQ finish idea because it does save Cody a bit. He doesn't have to take an official loss, but he's gonna get he's gonna beat the brakes off that boy, man. And it'll build up maybe to like Hell in a Cell or something at SummerSlam. You gotta have some type of stip. It could be a Street Fighter, Last Man Standing, something. You gotta have some type of a stip, and just finish it. Just get over with.
Please.
But moving on. My mom's calling me, but she's just gonna have to wait. Sorry, Mom. Moving on. You mentioned Gunther. I like how we're tying these matches in because you mentioned Gunther, and we're gonna bring his match up next against Mustafa for the Intercontinental Championship. I see you shaking your head. What's wrong?
So
we know it's predictable. It's gonna be a predictable outcome.
I'm just upset that I didn't realize what they were doing until literally yesterday. Like, I didn't realize I didn't put all the pieces together in my head just due to the fact that, okay, Saudi Arabia, Night of Champions, Mustafa Ali just miraculously now has a title opportunity out of nowhere. And it makes sense. Now, I'm not against Mustafa Ali. I feel like he's been given a bad hand since being in WWE. Honestly, now just think about this. When he was supposed to be in he was supposed to be in the Elimination Chamber match in 2019. Obviously, he wasn't going to win the match. We all knew that. But due to him getting injured, that stopped his momentum. That match could have turned him into, or began to turn him into, a main event caliber player. Now, has he won a mid card title? Now that I think about it, he might be the United States champion for a little bit, if I can remember.
Did he even win a 24/7 championship, bro?
That's what I'm saying. Like, Mustafa Ali is not bad. And again, I'm not against him. Then we're not even gonna talk about the disaster that was Reckoning. I don't want my blood to boil, so we're not gonna talk about Reckoning. But just know that could have, in my opinion, that could have been money. That could have been better than Nexus.
I'll say the masks were a bit goofy, but the whole concept of that could have worked.
It started out so great. I enjoyed the fact that there were just these random people backstage just whooping everybody's ass. Just whooping everybody's, like, that was great. That was great to see. It was different. It was fresh, but the execution was horrible. So yeah, he goes to Reckoning, and then after that, he is in that little stint with Mansoor, or who's now called Mansoor. We're not gonna get into them. But he was in that little stint with him. Like, he's
surprised he's not in that match.
Exactly. He's just been always given a bad hand. Now, will it be fun to see him go get some love in Saudi Arabia Saturday afternoon? Yeah, it'll be fun to see that. I'm glad he's going to get that. But come on now. We don't got to talk about this match. We all know who's going to win. We all know.
Chop King himself. I don't think anybody's calling him that because his real nickname is the Ring General Kunta, Intercontinental Champion for 339 days and counting now. Just as a reminder, Honky Tonk's reign, 454 days. He is getting closer and closer to that. I think he will and should break that record. And, Mustafa, he just won a Battle Royal to become number one contender. They didn't really build this up out of the blue. Battle Royal. Like, anybody who wins a Battle Royal to become number one contender, unless it's the Royal Rumble itself, like, that's not a build. That doesn't, I can't buy into you being a viable number one contender if you just throw a couple of guys over the top rope. Like, and of course he's been winning some matches on TV, in the lead up to this match. Because of course, they probably threw Dolph Ziggler out there to make him look good because he makes everybody look good. But come on. And I love Mustafa. And I'm trying to get into what they're doing with this character lately. This enlightenment character. It's not moving me. But I'm trying. I'm just trying, bro. They're just not giving him much. And it's not his fault. It's hardly ever their fault.
He's always had, this is what I'm saying. He's always been given a bad hand.
Unless your name is like Karrion Kross or Lars Sullivan, bro, it's not their fault. Like, those guys, they just don't do it for me. Like, sorry. They just don't. But everyone else is it's just the writing. It's like the writing for these guys, bro.
I'll talk about Karrion Kross on another day at another time.
Another day, yeah, bro.
But it's not his fault either, and I'm going to stick by that. He could have worked.
The first time around, it really wasn't his fault. Like, on the main roster, that was, come on.
I don't think it's his. I don't think it's his fault now. I just think it's due to the fact that our first impression of him when he came to the main roster was that ridiculous ass outfit he had on and losing to Jeff Hardy in like 2 minutes.
It was DOA, bro.
No, and no disrespect to Jeff Hardy. Right, no disrespect to Jeff Hardy either. But what the hell? The NXT champion who has not been beaten yet.
And was he rolled up? He was rolled up too, right?
Yes.
He didn't get beat by a swanton. He got rolled up. Like, oh my God.
His first loss should have been to Samoa Joe at TakeOver. That should have been his first loss because that actually made sense. Losing to Jeff Hardy.
Samoa Joe the title, who ended up getting the title anyways.
Yes.
And then you bring him up, and then he's pissed off because he lost the NXT championship. Who can he take it out on? The main roster. And Jeff Hardy would have been a perfect guy to sit there and just sell for him and build some credibility because it's Jeff Hardy. But no, what do they do? Oh, Jeff gets this new theme song back, so we got to have him get the win.
Bro,
man. I love this company. I love this company, but they just make a lot of just like, what are you doing decisions? Like
we're not gonna spend. We're not gonna take.
yeah,
We're not gonna spend 10 minutes talking
veering
about
off the
Karrion
track,
Kross.
but it's
But again, we can talk. We can have the discussion another day. It's not his fault, and I will stick by that. It's not his fault.
I hear you. I feel like the second time around is just like, because this has been his regular gimmick, like just the hourglass and stuff. Like he's got hair now. He's not bald anymore. He's got hair, but it's still like the same kind of guy we saw in NXT, and it's just not moving the crowd. But again, they can give him more to do. They can make him more compelling. They're just not doing that. And I feel like that's the same for Mustafa Ali. And I'm very afraid that after this match, he's just going to fall back into just irrelevancy, catering, low card, mid card. This is the mid card. Like, he's going to fall into the low card, bro. Like, I think he was Cruiserweight champion at one time, maybe 205 Live. But other than that, he hasn't had much relevance on the main roster. And that's a shame. Like, his peak was WrestleMania 34 against Cedric Alexander. That was his peak. That was an incredible match, and he lost. So, hey, all I can hope for is a good match. That's all we can hope for. Give him good 14, 15, 16 minutes. He's going to take some chops. He's going to sell it well, but just have a good match. That's all I can ask for. But I was telling you, the Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar was probably my second least, interesting match on this card. And it's very uninteresting, but this match I feel like takes the cake for me. It's a SmackDown, air quotes, SmackDown Women's Championship match. Rhea Ripley, and it's the first of 3 women's matches, so shout out to WWE for that. In Saudi Arabia to pull off 3 women's matches. Only 2 of them are championship matches. No women's tag team titles because we don't have a champion. We'll get into that in another time too. So, the first of 3 women's matches that we're going to cover here. Rhea Ripley, Natalya, SmackDown Women's Championship. This match was set up after Rhea Ripley, beat Dana Brooke in a match on Raw, and then just started to beat her down even more afterwards. And then Natalya just came out, made the save, and then boom, championship match all of a sudden. This hasn't really had much of a build. None of these matches have really had much of a compelling build except for Brock and Cody and Bianca Asuka. Like, not even our main event has had a compelling build. And this is the story's kind of been set up already in the past. That's why. So it's like we know the history between these guys, but they haven't even given that some juice. Like, even the World Heavyweight Championship match is like, have we seen Styles and Rollins in the same ring? Like, face to face?
Not since the match was created. They just both had sit down interviews. I know like SmackDown was pre-show for tomorrow, but I think tomorrow all they're having is just sit down interview with AJ Styles, and that's gonna be it.
Which I can kind of, because it is a tournament, and that's kind of the problem with tournaments in wrestling is that, like, it's kind of supposed to be like just a competition. It's not really a storyline. Like, the tournament is the story, but it's like, damn, like, it's going to be a great match, but still sell me on it. Like, don't just like coast into it. And they're coasting right now. Like, they're coasting in a SummerSlam, and it's kind of obvious. And it's obvious with this match too, because it's just another annual Natalya championship match. It's not necessary. Like, I love Natalya, Hall of Famer. She does a lot for the business. She's done a lot for the business. She's a former champion in her own right. Okay. Like, very pretty young lady. All right. She's done a lot. She's good. She's still good in the ring. All right. But it's like, we don't really see much from her. Just like Mustafa and Karrion, like, they don't give her much to do. They kind of just have her, help out the younger talent from time to time. And then once a year, they pluck her out of nowhere. We need you here for this championship match at this pay-per-view. So, of course, Rhea's going to win. She's going to retain her title. She's going to hang on to that title for a very long time. If Zelina in Puerto Rico couldn't get the job done, ain't no way in hell Natalya's going to get the job done in Saudi. All right, so it's just that simple. Riptide, probably 10-minute match. Riptide, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna see a sharpshooter in there. You're gonna get her. Our discus clothesline and our sharpshooter. Oh my gosh, she's gonna tap. She's gonna tap. Like, come on now. What?
Bro, I just gotta be real. If we being completely
Go
honest,
ahead, man.
there's
Yeah.
really only like like 3 matches that I'm really eager to see. Now, a lot of these are just thrown together, and yes,
They're
props to
coasting right now.
WWE. Props to WWE for putting together 3 women's matches in Saudi Arabia. But I have a feeling that we already know who's gonna win out those matches. The only one I find compelling is just Oscar Bianca Belair. But at the end of the day, why would they take the title of Bianca right now? Now they could.
Don't jump the
But
gun.
I'm not jumping the gun. But then again, isn't it weird to have 2 heel world champions? Because again, I look at the women's titles as the world champions still.
As they
Like
should be
they're
named.
world champions.
Universal and World Championships. Just throw women in front.
But it would be weird to have 2 heel champions because Asuka has at this point made a heel turn since 2 weeks ago since she came back. And since we're talking about women titles, when are they making this change? Like when are they switching titles?
We
Like
talked about this in our last WWE episode. Like, hello. Like is we going on like 3 weeks from the draft?
Right, you could do a quick 3-4 minute segment, have them swap titles, and let them go about their business.
I wouldn't
We'll
even
face
swap
each other
titles.
down
I'll
the
just
line.
rename and redesign. So you can kind of keep that lineage going for Bianca because she's been champion for 417 days. So like you don't want to end that in a title swap. Just rename it, give it the same lineage as the Raw Women's Championship that goes all the way back to WrestleMania 32, which was originally the women's. It was just the women's championship. They changed the name to Raw Women's Championship. It had the same lineage to it, so you can just do that again. They can make their own rules as WWE. Just rename the title, make it the World Championship, or since it's SmackDown, make it the Universal Championship, Women's Universal Title. Same lineage. Maybe change the design, but if you want to keep the W logo, cool, whatever. Just change the name and change the color. It's silly. Like, she's on SmackDown. Same for Rhea. On Raw with the SmackDown Women's title. And she just won that. So it's like you can make a new lineage out of that. But again, you can just rename it and just keep that history going from Backlash 2016. I don't get it, bro. But that's, again, we already discussed that. Do you want to talk Bianca and Asuka? Because we know Rhea is your winner.
Easily. And
yes. So it's a rematch, WrestleMania 39. This has somewhat of a compelling build to it with, Asuka spraying the mist, with the chili powder and Bianca just selling it like death, just doing her job as she does it. A lot of people are getting tired of this reign, I must say. I'm not one of those people. But a lot of people have been, complaining that this reign has been going on too long. And that's kind of just been Triple H's thing right now, because I mentioned it earlier. Roman Reigns, he's 1,000 days is coming up. He's going to have a celebration, I think, next week for 1,000 days. Gunther coming up on 350 days. Theory, he's getting a little bit of a run now. The Usos before WrestleMania held the belts for over 600 days. That's just Triple H's thing. And I love it. I love it. I love long championship reigns because it's like, it makes the titles feel important. When you toss them around person to person, is like you're devaluing the belt. You can remember we can't remember because we weren't really old enough, but looking back on years like 99, 2002, WWE title was just getting tossed around person to person. WCW in their final year was even worse. David Arquette. That's all I gotta say. David Arquette. So Bianca's had a long reign, but she is running out of competitors. All right, and Asuka is already a rematch. It's a good rematch. It's a rematch that I think we need because WrestleMania 39, that was a great match. One of the stronger matches on night 2, but everybody was sour about the finish because they thought Asuka should have won. I would have been fine with Asuka winning. Would have been cool with it, but I love Bianca, so it's like I'm not complaining that she won. So I mean, I think she wins again. And sorry, Asuka, this is gonna hurt her image a lot. But I don't see them changing the title on a B tier pay per view like this. Maybe SummerSlam. I feel like that should have been the proper time to do a rematch if you wanted to get the belt on the Asuka. But that's not what they're doing. They're kind of rushing the rematch. So I feel like she's not going to win. Because if she's going to win on Saturday, then she should have just won at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
how do you feel about it? You say you're a winner already, but
I feel like at this point, there's only one person that can take the title off Bianca. That person right now was taking a rest period, but when she comes back, she better come back as a damn heel. Woo!
I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that, but I feel like that's exactly what they're going to do, bro.
But it makes the most sense because you said Bianca's really running out of competitors to face.
Yeah.
Now Bianca's big goal has been to beat the four pillars of the women's division. She's already beaten three of them. The only person she has never faced yet, well, yeah, no, she faced her. They had a match at NXT.
NXT.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the one person, but in my opinion, the one person that she hasn't faced yet is Charlotte Flair, and it makes sense that she can go through the same kind of storyline she went with Charlotte or with Becky Lynch with Charlotte. Charlotte can beat her for the title. Now you can bring it to SummerSlam.
I see the
Now,
vision. I see where you're going.
now Bianca, basically like she did with Becky Lynch, has to work her way back up. And this is where you can build a character. I don't care if you turn her heel or whatever the case, but this is where you can build her character some more. Since it's getting old as being world champion, just let her fire the competitors. Let her put competitors over. Whether they win or lose, just let her put competitors over. I feel like that's what happened with Liv Morgan. Now, obviously, Liv Morgan's title reign was not good, and it ended way sooner. And it ended, yeah, it was rushed. It was, but I feel like Liv Morgan really started to get over when she was having compelling matches with Bianca. Now, just let Bianca do that. Put her in that role until you feel like it's time to make her champion again. And it makes sense because now she has to overcome a lot of adversity again to get that rematch with Charlotte just to face her again. Whether you want to do that at WrestleMania 40, at next year's SummerSlam, wherever that may happen. I feel like that's the only person that can beat Bianca. So when it comes to Saturday, just like WrestleMania, I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be entertaining. Asuka will have close calls. Might even put her in her. I don't know her submission. I don't know her finisher, but she might even put her in her finisher.
Asuka lock.
The Asuka lock, yes. Might even do that, but at the end of the day, Asuka's not the right person to take the title off Bianca Belair. She's not the right person. I like her new character. I'm enjoying it. It's fun seeing this, but she's not the right person.
Bit of a watered down version of Kana from Japan.
Yeah.
It's a watered down version. It's a WWE version of that because, of course, they put their hands on everything. She's just basically what she's doing now with the mist and all that, and just a creepy smile. But it's like 10 times way more sinister when she was doing it over there. You know, WWE, they get their hands on you, kind of wear it down a little bit, like the demon, Finn Balor. But I do like this character that Asuka has kind of evolved into, and I think she's believable. She's believable enough to where she can beat Bianca and people will be cool with it. I just don't think Night of Champions is the place to do it. No disrespect to the Saudi Arabian, crowds out there, but it's just like I feel like those have kind of been throwaway shows in the past, and now they're kind of making them like more special events. Because I think Saudi Arabia, and I just think of the Universal title and how they just kind of bungled that. It's like that's not the place to change a title, especially not right before WrestleMania. But that's past Goldberg. Oh God, I'm still heated about that, bro. I am still heated about it. I'm still heated about that. I swear, bro.
We know those. We know that those shows have went through their fair share of disappointments.
It's gotten slightly better over the years.
Yes, they have.
But Oh my God.
All the shows in Saudi Arabia have not been good. They've all had good moments, but I really can't think of one that's been from top to bottom good. Always had its flaws.
Yeah, and I think
It
this one will have its flaws too, bro.
it will.
It's with the way we're just predicting these matches. You know, some are bound to just be clunkers, some stinkers. Um, and I feel like this match will be good again, like WrestleMania 39. But it's another match where the outcome is quite predictable, and people aren't gonna like it. You know, sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but this ain't the time to end a 400+ day reign. Not at Night of Champions. If you're gonna do it at the Big Four.
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam,
Just do it at
Romania. Those are
SummerSlam.
the only pay-per-views that are worthy of ending a reign like this. So I hate that it's gonna be Charlotte. She's gonna win her 15th title, whatever. But that does make a lot of sense for Bianca to kind of get knocked down a peg or two and work her way back up to make her relevant and fresh in the eyes of the fan base again. So I get it. But moving on, our third and final women's match here on our Night of Champions preview, non-title, which again grinds my gears on a pay-per-view called Night of Champions. But it is a bit of a dream match. This is a match that might be up in that top 2, top 3 category when it's all said and done and we're reviewing the pay-per-view. This might be up there as one of the top matches of the night. Becky Lynch, the man, against the Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. Now, Trish, she turned on Becky, a couple months ago, right after WrestleMania, after, they lost the tag team championships to Liv and Raquel. And, Becky kind of took some time off. She went away. I guess that was like a writer off TV type situation, and she came back and basically was like, well, you don't like me. I don't like you. Let's sign a contract. Let's have a match. Boom. Now, I'm kind of personally disappointed because, this Trish Stratus match in Saudi Arabia. So it's like, God, she's going to be covered up at the toe. But it's like, me personally, we can't get the Trish fit. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, I'm still happy that she's still going right now in this stage of her life. She doesn't have to do this. She's Trish Stratus. She's already in the Hall of Fame. She's been retired for over a decade now. She doesn't have to do this, but she's coming back. She's giving the young lady some shine. She had a program in Charlotte a few years ago at SummerSlam 2019, and she's giving the same rub to Becky, who kind of doesn't need it because she's made as well. But it's a dream match. It's not often we get dream matches in the WWE. A lot of the dream matches that we want are just either just impossible because guys are too old or they're just no longer with us. This is a dream match that is possible and a dream match is actually going to happen. And again, the finish feels kind of predictable. It's got to be Becky. But it's going to be a match that can just still captivate us. Even though we know the finish, even though we know the outcome, we don't care because it's just going to be a good match. And there's a bit of a story behind it. It hasn't been the best of stories, but it's a story, nevertheless. So I see you turned your camera off. I don't know where you went, but
I'm right here.
All right, you back. So I'll send it to you. Bit of a predictable finish, but how do you see this match playing out?
I see this having 3 different outcomes, but I agree.
You think people will get involved?
I think all three. I think all 3 are predictable though.
Yeah.
So it can either be a clean Becky Lynch win, which I think feels like the most likely outcome because I don't feel like Trish is going to be around WWE for a while. I mean, yes, she was part of the WWE draft, but I feel like that was only just for the storyline. Like you said, she's already established herself. She's already a Hall of Famer. She has nothing left to prove, and I'm not even sure if no disrespect to Trish, but I'm not even sure if people nowadays really want to see her in the long run in WWE. Like,
I personally wouldn't mind.
I bet you wouldn't. I bet you wouldn't. That's the first way I see it happening. The second, the second and third ways intertwine, but or they can intertwine, but I feel like Lita interferes. Now, this can happen one of two ways. Since Trish attacked Lita, she can either attack Trish, somehow sabotage her, cause her to lose a match, or act like she's attacking Trish, make it seem like she's going to build that up, and she's a turn on Becky as well. Now, the reason I think that those two things can happen, I look at the third finish where Lita turns on Becky Lynch. It's been well documented the respective relationship that Trish and Lita have with each other. I mean, obviously, when we talk about the women's division, we talk about the Divas division, since that's what was before that. Those are those have to be the first two names that pop up when you talk about impact and influence overall on women's wrestling. So
across
it
two
would make
eras.
yes, it would make sense to me that if Lita was to turn on Becky, she turns on Becky just due to the fact that the battles and the wars and the respect over here that she's gained for Trish. Now, yes, you're gonna have to talk. Now, yes, you might have to cut a promo the next or that Monday on Raw and basically explain her actions, which I feel like she can do. But that outcome makes sense to me. But it also makes sense if Lita was to attack Trish, for attacking me.
Yeah.
But I feel like at the end of the day, all three of those finishes are predictable. So while I do expect this to be a good match, because again, even though they're on the same team at WrestleMania, that six woman tag match was still entertaining. It was definitely not it was at least a 4-star match. So they can still put on the show. We know what Becky Lynch can do as a performer. She's put on very good matches in the past, and Trish, as she showed us at WrestleMania, still has it. So I mean, I do expect to see a good match out of this. I'm gonna put my money on the prediction that Becky just wins clean, but I wouldn't be surprised if either of the other two scenarios that I just described happen either.
Now, if Lita gets involved, then that probably means that Trish will win the match.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, could they do a rematch? Or, there's a lot of ways you can go with this now. Like, could Becky get a rematch against Trish at maybe Money in the Bank or SummerSlam? Could Becky have a one-on-one with Lita? Could it be a tag team match?
So this is me just thinking. Yeah, so here's me just thinking. Now,
okay,
I would not like to see this happen, mostly because I don't like her as a face, but it would make sense to me just at SummerSlam. We can have this match at SummerSlam. You can have a tag team match. It was a come down to this: Trish and Lita against Becky and Charlotte. Now, I say that because think about it. All four women have respect for their tag team partners, but at the end of the day, they don't really like them. Now, we know about the history between Becky and Charlotte and how, they once were very close friends, then they had a falling out, a legit falling out. Now they don't like each other. But it makes sense to kind of have a kumbaya moment if Lita was to turn on Becky. Just like, okay, you don't like me, I don't like you, but guess what? These two heroes that we looked up to, they're disrespecting us. Let's take them
think
out.
about it. Like,
I mean, it happens.
Like Becky and Charlotte, it will kind of be like just like looking in the mirror at Lita and Trish. Like, it's kind of the same dynamic of that 1-2 or that 1A 1B in the women's division. Like, we know we've had Sasha, we've had Bayley, we've had what's her name, Alexa Bliss. They've kind of all been in that conversation of the top, women's superstars, women's wrestlers in WWE. But it's always felt like WWE has positioned Charlotte as their clear, face of the division. But then it's always Becky that's like right there. We've had Ronda too, had Ronda in there too for a little bit, but that's kind of been like the dynamic, and it's kind of like Charlotte, the queen, preppy girl, pretty, all eyes on me type of persona. Is kind of like Becky, who's a bit of an outlaw, not extreme like Lita, but she's kind of like the outlaw, kind of does things her way. She's not like the corporate, the corporate face like a Trish or a Charlotte. So it's like, they kind of got the same dynamic, bro. So I was like, I would love to see that as a tag team match. But that would kind of contradict what you said earlier
Yes, it would.
about,
It would.
Bianca. Like, what would she
Yes,
do for
yes, it would.
SummerSlam?
And
So,
again, I mean, it's a lot of interchangeable things that has to happen for that to take place. But just thinking ahead, if you want to build on the storyline, if Trish was to stay around for a little bit, that could be something that could be brought up. Now, obviously, if you go with that route for Charlotte, you need to figure out who Bianca is going to face at SummerSlam, because it wouldn't make any damn sense to not have Bianca face a legit competitor, somebody that you could legitimately lose to at SummerSlam. So obviously, it's things they have to think about. But just when it comes to just the storyline building itself, if you want to continue the storyline, I feel like that has to be the next domino to fall is Lita turn on Becky, and then you can build up to a Charlotte return. Let's just say Becky just constantly gets her ass whooped time after time after time by the two legends, and Charlotte's like, all right, I've had enough. Let's take these two women out. Something like that. I mean, maybe people
I
will get
see
up
it.
for
I
that.
see the vision. I see the vision,
You
bro.
never
Chris the
know.
Booker.
Hey
Booker.
man,
I see
Greg,
it.
Greg's talk is getting to my head. I'm trying to
Hey, yo,
sign up
you
with
and
him.
Greg, y'all be cooking up some ideas, man. I got a couple ideas, but then I see y'all. It's like y'all got it, bro. Y'all got it. I would love to see that tag team match again. Bianca, her championship would kind of be up in the air. Maybe run it back for a third time with Asuka. I don't know, but that tag team match has to be a must somewhere down the line. I don't know if Money in the Bank, SummerSlam. I don't think you can hold out until WrestleMania. I feel like that'll be waiting too long for that, way too long for that. But I see the vision on that. But that's that. This is the match I think will main event the evening. It shouldn't, because it should be your World Heavyweight Championship to, build that title up. But the main event of the evening, Roman Reigns, Solo
Here we
Sikoa,
go.
Tribal Chief, and Street Champ, little cousin, teaming up. This is so weird. Teaming up to take on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the WWE Undisputed World Tag Team Championships. Your Universal Heavyweight Champion in a tag team match in the main event. Not his titles up on the line in Saudi at a pay-per-view called Night of Champions, but he's in a tag team match. If you told me a month ago that would I wouldn't believe you. Like, there's no way. Like, why is Roman in a tag team? We talk about Brock in tag team matches. Roman doesn't get into tag team matches either. Well, he does, but it's been a long time. And again, like Brock, why would he need to be in a tag team match? Now, who the hell would he even defend his championships against if he were to face anyone? Maybe Bobby is probably the only guy who I could see being a viable challenger right now. But even then, well, that's the problem with his championship ring right now. It's like with Bianca, but even worse because it's been 1,000 days now. He's fought everybody except Bobby. Like, that's probably the one big name he hasn't faced in a match in this ring yet. And that it is a match that I need to see down the line too. By the way, maybe Money in the Bank. Bobby's on SmackDown. Make it happen. I'm just saying, Money in the Bank, make it happen. But you know, it's Night of Champions, and look, call me a sicko, but I kind of want to see Roman and Solo win. They're not, and they shouldn't. I'll explain why, but I kind of want to see it just for the optics. Like that's just that one night. It'll be horrible for business. I get it. It will be, but just the optics of Roman holding up 4 championships and then Solo finally getting a main roster championship, because I feel like he should be like the U.S. champion right now, or Intercontinental champion. I know that's tied up with Gunther, but it's like, the whole bloodline. It was carrying all the belts, and he had the North American belt for a little bit, but that's on NXT. So it was like you can't just go, week to week on the main roster with that. It's like, dang, man, my boy got to get a championship. He got to get a title. I don't know what title it is. Maybe the World Heavyweight Championship somewhere down the line. Maybe he challenges Roman for the Universal title down the line. Maybe he's the one that dethrones him. Maybe it's not Cody. Maybe I'm thinking out in left field right now. But Solo needs a championship, but it can't be the tag titles, right? No way they'll do that, right?
They better not. No. There's Roman does not need 4 titles.
No,
he doesn't.
It's just the optics would be crazy.
But
like
before I get into the match itself, the interest is that you brought up Solo and him possibly being the one to dethrone Roman.
Listen, bro.
And usually I think about it. Triple H knows how to slowly build to a great moment. Remember what last SmackDown during that Bloodline segment, Roman bumped shoulders with Solo, and Solo gave him that look. He just gave him that look. He didn't
even
do
look
that,
at him.
Right.
He didn't look at him.
He just made
at
that
his
little
shoulder.
look. Looked right at his shoulder.
It's the look that Roman gave Solo.
Yes, that he was scared. Like Triple H is known for Triple H is known for letting things cook slowly. So by the time the event happens at a big time moment, the crowd will go crazy. We saw him do that with Batista.
Yes,
which was,
I was
in
about
my
to mention
opinion,
that.
One of the best storylines that was created.
We talk about the Reign of Terror all the time, bro, but listen, he finished it perfectly. He ended it. Listen.
And he was having a lot of disputes with Vince McMahon over when to have Batista turn him. And he said, you have to let it cook. That's what he said. Let him cook. And he cooked that joint slowly for like a year. And when Batista turned on him, it was the perfect moment. And how great was that moment?
Remember that, bro.
But how great was that moment? Batista did the thumbs down. That's when he debuted the thumbs down to Triple H, who did it to Randy Orton.
And he just made it his taunt the rest of his career, bro. That just stuck. Remember, and Triple H was the first person to do it to Randy.
Yes.
And Batista took it and turned it on him. Like, oh my God. That is what you call a slow build. That is what you call long-term booking.
Yes.
Wow.
Now long-term booking could happen with Roman and Solo. Now, obviously,
they planted the seed.
Right. That was the seed. Yes, I feel like that was the seed because obviously, if not Saturday, definitely during the 1,000-year celebration, Usos going to get dropped from the bloodline. They're going to. It's written in the stars at this point. It's just written. And I feel like when it comes to Saturday's match, the Usos have to be the reason that Roman and Solo lose. Now, obviously, they're not going to let Roman get the pin, so it's got to happen to Solo.
Unfortunately,
yeah. Solo's going to get upset. They're going to get frustrated, and Roman's going to be like, I got a plan. Watch this. And come the 1,000-year celebration that the Usos probably going to plan or help the wise man, Paul Heyman, plan, Roman's basically going to just tell Solo to get him. He might do one of these to get him.
Solo!
Yeah, might yell Solo like he did at Raw 30. He might do that again.
Yeah, bro.
He might. But there's no way that Roman and Solo need to win this match, and they shouldn't.
No.
I know I talked about AEW, how the product's been still, and how if Double or Nothing, when I watch it, if it doesn't meet my expectations, how I might stop watching AEW. WWE better not do this. They better not. I promise you.
Chaos, bro.
I will not watch wrestling. I will not watch the WWE product until Survivor Series. I promise you. Don't make this mistake.
Maybe they win it and then they lose it back in Money Bank. No, they wouldn't do that.
No, they have no business winning the tag team titles. This all has to be a build-up for the fallout of the bloodline. Yeah. Nothing more and nothing less. Will it be a great match? Absolutely. Yes. It will be a tremendous match. Will there be a lot of times where you might sit on the edge of your seat? Yes, there will be. Is it going to be compelling storytelling?
Oh my God, the near falls.
Hell yes. There should be at least 4.
I said there wasn't much of a build, but it's already there. Like this is basically a rematch from to Elimination Chamber back in Montreal. Like Sammy still got to get his lick back. He got his lick back on the bloodline with the Usos. But he didn't get his lick back on Roman individually.
Right. This is the perfect time.
And he's got to be the one to make the pin too.
He should. But they can't leave out KO. KO needs to look back too.
Yeah.
We had 3 championship matches against Roman. I mean, obviously he lost all 3, but I mean he wants his look back too. Plus he wants his look back for Solo. Because Solo been whooping his ass too lately. So it just makes for the perfect time for the Usos to just mess it up. And then, like you said, that's and once the Usos get dropped from the bloodline, that chapter's over. Then you worry about the next chapter, and that's slowly building up Solo going rogue.
Well, we can't just skip over SummerSlam because I feel like that's got to be our match with Jay.
Oh, obviously, it's got to be.
He's not going to win. He's not going to win.
No,
but
it's got to be
Jay. The match, and it should be the main event. And it will because it's Roman, and that's why I think this will be the main event too. But yeah, I know you don't like it, and I don't either. But because of the storyline that is setting up, because it's going to be cinema, and because it's Roman Reigns and it's politics, he's getting the main event. And I'm kind of happy for Solo because that means he's getting the main event too, at least. And Sami and KO can once again main event the tag team championships. So when do we ever get tag team title main event matches, especially at a WrestleMania? That's still crazy. So they get to basically double back on that. Again, World Heavyweight title should be established as, like it's already a Mickey Mouse belt, and it's like, well, kind of just reconfirming that. But at least make that match, kind of just tie it all up here for Night of Champions. Make the World Heavyweight Championship match the curtain jerk. Make that opening match. Because look, you know the saying, if I'm not going on last, I damn sure better be first. I want to be the match that everybody has to top. I want to be the match that sets the tone for the whole pay-per-view that everybody's going to remember. Because you only go like, there's been good cards where like every match has been good. It's rare, but it's happened. But most times, most pay-per-views, people remember the beginning and the end. So if it's not going to main event, because Roman has to be the main event, fine. You make that World Heavyweight Championship opening match. And it's just intrigue. We all want to see just the optics of someone just holding that belt up for the first time. Just get it out the way. Have Rollins, my damn camera, my damn phone. Have Rollins do the title swing. Yep. You already knew where I was going. With the pyro going off, it's in Saudi Arabia, so the Crown Prince, he got all the money in the world. Pyro budget's gonna be crazy. Him doing the belt swing with the pyro going off is gonna be just blah. So had that opening show. And then you have Sami and KO. How poetic will that be? Them wrestling in Saudi for the first time. Yeah. Because Saudi and I believe Syria, they're kind of like in peace talks right now. So for Sami, is like, all right, fine, I'll go over there now. And KO, his best friend, is going to join him. So it's very poetic that they will close the show and win, and have them have a pyro celebration. I want to see them. They already won the titles, but give them a little pyro celebration too. Roman's entrance is going to go crazy as well. So that main event's going to be cinema, man. I can't wait. And I can't wait for the SmackDown after this. Oh, my goodness. Whoo, boy. But that's going to be then. We're still going to keep it here on this weekend. We're going to finish up. We're going to talk about a couple main events for the rest of the weekend for Sunday. And we're going to start with Sunday afternoon, NXT Battleground. Of course, we don't have time to go over the whole pay-per-view. Sorry. But we will discuss the main event, rematch of Stand and Deliver for the NXT Championship. Carmelo Hayes defending the title against Braun Breaker. Again, it kind of feels like, and with the next match we're going to talk about, it kind of feels like a foregone conclusion with the finish, but should be a great match. So how do you feel about this one?
I'm excited for this one. I like the build up. I like the fact that it's kind of like they kind of switch places, because during their first match, Carmelo Hayes came in as the heel and Braun was the face, and now it's reversed. Now Braun is the heel and Carmelo's the face. And I've enjoyed this heel turn of Brock Lesnar, of Braun Breaker. I've enjoyed it.
It's so refreshing.
It is. I mean, it was time. It was definitely time. It got still being a baby face. I mean, it was congrats on the title run. I'm not saying he didn't deserve the title run, but it got boring. It got old. So just being able to see this new aggressive Braun Breaker is fun to see. And at the same time, Carmelo Hayes being the heel, it got old because slowly but surely you saw the fans getting behind him and started cheering for him. So it's like the things he was doing, you could kind of like with Seth
Kind of
Rollins.
like our other champion
Yep.
coming
You
up. Yeah.
just saw that eventually you just had to make this push back. Now he's a fan favorite and deservingly. I've enjoyed both of these competitors. I've been watching them. I've actually watched them both since they debuted at NXT. And it's been fun to see just their growth in really a short period of time. I do think the outcome is predictable. I do think Carmelo Hayes will still win, but I do anticipate it to be a very good match, just like they had at Stand and Deliver. I expect it to be fast paced. I expect hard hits. I expect close finishes.
He's been
I
scaring
expect
the
all
hell out
that.
that boy, man. It's build up.
Yes, he has.
He's like through
But it's been
the
fun to
stage.
see.
Yes.
Off the rope.
And Melo, stop doing springboards.
It's
Stop doing springboards, bro. You like, please, like.
But it's been fun, and I understand you must stop doing springboards, but this is gonna build Carmelo Hayes up to when he eventually goes to the main roster. Now he's proven himself like as a face. He's proven himself to be that guy. I am praying, and I am praying they don't mess him up when he goes into the main roster, him or Braun Breaker, because I could honestly see them at some point in time down the line main event of WrestleMania. And for me, just due to the fact that I saw them start out NXT and I saw how they started, to see them at some point main event of WrestleMania would just be magical in my eyes.
Yes,
they
sir.
always put on good.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, they always put on good matches, and I expect Sunday to be a good match. I'm excited for it. The whole card itself,
5 stars. Do you even care about that star system? I really don't. Because it's all subjective. It's all in the eye of the beholder. Like that ain't gospel to me.
For me, a good match is if you can make my eyes like just pop open. That's what makes a good match to me. If I'm able to
keep me off my cell phone.
Yeah, keep me off my cell phone. If I can't look at this, if I decide not to look at my cell phone during the match, you're doing a good job. That's what I think a good match is. If I can't look away, I don't think I'm gonna look away at Carmelo Hayes match. Not for Braun Breaker. I want to be tuned into that. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. You brought up, their eventual, main roster pushes because it's happening. It's coming. So, Melo, he's the champion, and he will be for a good while. But Braun Breaker, second loss in a row to Melo, won't get another opportunity at the championship. It's time. So, my question is, which brand does he go to, and who's his first feud?
Okay, that's
time.
So yeah, honestly,
you don't even got to answer it, but you can kind of just give a vague answer.
To be real, I thought Braun Breaker was already going to be called up after he turned heel. I thought at the night that he turned heel, he was going to get called up. So I feel like Braun Breaker is going to go to Smack. Well, I don't know.
He feels like a Raw guy, kind of.
Most call-ups end up going to Raw, though, in my eyes. Most of them just end up going to Raw. So if he does go to Raw, obviously, what you could do it might just be smart just to help build him up again. Have him just start a short little feud with Dolph Ziggler. They already have history before from they already have history from the NXT title. And Braun Breaker probably still feels some kind of way that Dolph Ziggler beat him in the first place, even though he won it back, because he won it back in a triple threat match. He never beat Dolph 1-on-1. So have them have a short rivalry. Dolph is a guy that right now puts talent over. He can do.
He's a feeder guy. Yeah.
Yeah. That nice little build up. Have him went through
Dolph,
a little.
Man. He used to be my guy because he kind of reminded me of Shawn Michaels, who's my all-time favorite, and he reminded me of him. So it was like he reminds me of a lot of guys. He reminded me of Mr. Perfect and Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. He kind of took elements from all of those guys. Like, yeah, man, he was my guy in the mid 2010s. Like, he was a world champion. Of course, he got the concussions, so they had to take the belt off him. Then he had a couple IC title runs, tag team title runs, but he's just the feeder guy now. And look, He's cool with it. He's getting paid. He's getting a WWE paycheck, so I'm happy for him. But damn,
Yeah,
he could have been a lot more.
He could have, but as a start out for Braun, perfect guy
Yep.
for him to just have a rivalry with. It don't have to be that
He'll
long. You
sell
can
the
make it
hell
like
out of that spear.
right. Exactly. You could make it
Make
a
him look $1
3.
million.
Yeah, make it a 3-week rivalry. Make just like what Dolph Ziggler did with Austin Theory. Even though it really,
Didn't they
in
get a
my,
pay-per-view match out of that?
I don't
Get a
I don't
pay-per-view
think
match.
they could they might, but if you do a pay per view, it's got to be one of the first 3 matches or a pre-show match. Like
Money in the Bank, maybe.
yeah, but that'd be the thing for him. Do you want me to answer it for Carmelo Hayes too?
No, you can say that because he's still the champion
Okay.
right now. So
Okay.
the earliest we'll probably see him is 2024 on the main roster.
Yeah,
Maybe not even then. He might kind of have a similar arc where he loses the title and gets it back and gets a second run. Maybe not. Maybe he just gets one long reign, like the next guy that we're about to bring up. So we'll see. I'll let you save that.
Okay.
But moving on to our other young champion. He's been a champion for a little bit longer than Carmelo Hayes. He is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, current AEW World Champion. Yes, sir, the Diamond Ring. He is defending his championship in a 4 pillars fatal 4-way match in the main event of Double or Nothing Sunday night against Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy. Now, again, outcome feels pretty predictable because, like, MJF, he's not losing that belt for a while, bro. I think he holds that until about the time his contract expires. I don't think he'll pull a CM Punk. Tony's not going to allow that, but he's going to hold that belt for a good long while, as he should. But,
yes.
It's like, it's a fatal 4-way match. So, again, if he were to lose a title, he has an out because he doesn't have to get pinned, of course. But I still think he does. Some people are saying he should do like what Roman did at WrestleMania and stack them all up and pin them. That would be hilarious. I don't think he does that though. It's a bit disrespectful, but that would be funny to see if he were to do that. That would be something that he would do. But who takes the fall in this match? Assuming you have MJF as your winner, who takes the pin?
That's a great question. That is.
I'll personally say Sammy because I don't like him.
That's tough. One, I think this is one of 3 matches at Double or Nothing that's going to blow the roof off the place.
Oh yeah, I forgot. My fault.
We're gonna touch. That's okay. We're gonna touch.
You still want to bring on?
Oh, we're gonna bring them up. There's 2 more.
Okay.
It's 2 more matches I want to bring up at this because I feel like these are the most noteworthy matches and the ones that are going to be the best. Okay, so yes, MJF should win. I feel like when it comes to who should take the pin, I feel like it should be Jungle Boy. I think it's great that. Yeah, I think it's great that all 4 of the pillars are again the main event rub. I think it's great that they're all going to main event this pay-per-view, obviously just due to the fact that they all took 4 extremely different paths to get to the main event scene.
Yeah.
As we all know, Darby, Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara, for the most part, they had much more difficult roles than MJF. MJF, when he came in, you could just see the star potential in him very early on. And it's like no disrespect to the other 3 competitors, but it's not. It's levels to this that we just talked about. It's just levels to this, and MJF is just up here compared to all of them. I do think it's going to be fun. It's going to be action packed. It's going to be entertaining. They're going to put on a show. But I feel like at the end of the day, Jungle Boy might end up just taking the pin, and I don't think it'll hurt anybody's run or momentum if they take the pin. I think after this, I feel like MJF at the same time should all have single matches for the world title with these competitors. At least with one
Why
of them.
not?
Yeah, they should. But yeah, I feel like MJF is gonna pin Jungle Boy. Man, it's gonna be.
The other 3 guys, they've been champions at least. They haven't been forgotten. They've all been champions at one point, but it's obvious. Like MJF is the star here in this match. He is the guy people are paying to see in this match. He's a world champion for a reason. And all these guys, everybody wants their favorite to be world champion. Maybe not Sammy, but people want to see Darby and or Jungle Boy win a title one day, and it's like maybe they could. I feel like a guy like Pac should get recognition for a world championship before either of those guys. But again, that's just want your favorites to win a world championship. And like maybe they may be worthy of it. We love these guys. We love their work ethic. We love their work in the ring. You know, for the most part, we love their characters. They're very rootable guys.
That is true.
But they're just not world championship material yet. Maybe they are. Even if they are, it's just not their time. It's MJF's time. I think he holds this. And look, this is a chokehold that we can get behind. It's like Gunther, and it's like the beginning, year and a half of Roman's reign. Like it's just obvious. Like this guy is a champion, and he shouldn't be touched. He just shouldn't be touched right now. So it'll be a great match. We're gonna see some insane spots from Darby and Sammy. I hope they don't kill themselves because they may be prone to do that, bro. And it's a fatal 4-way match, so there's no disqualifications. It's gonna be weapons. I'm guaranteeing you right now, it's not even a ladder match. We're gonna have a ladder spot in this match somehow.
Darby Allin's in it. We have to.
It's not even a ladder match, and this probably would have worked a lot better as a ladder match. Now that I think of it, this would have been a fun ladder match if they were to do one. But, I feel like we're still going to get a ladder spot. We're going to get a table spot in there. Maybe some thumbtacks. Who the hell knows? It's not an extreme match, but it's no disqualification, so they can do whatever they want. But as long as MJF keeps the title, I'm cool with it. It could be just a straightforward fatal 4-way match. But it's AEW, so I don't know. They kind of tend to overbook things. That's just their thing. And we love them for it. So, speaking of overbooking, speaking of
extreme insanity.
Yes. Speaking of no disqualifications, Blackpool Combat Club, The Elite, 6-man, 3-on-3, or 4-on-4.
4-on-4.
4-on-4, excuse me. Anarchy in the Arena match. You've seen one before. You've seen a couple. We've seen Stadium Stampede. We've seen Anarchy in the Arena. And we're about to get another iteration of that match. I mean, I can't even pick a winner. I want to lean towards the baby faces here, the Elite, but it could be. I'm cool with Blackpool Combat Club getting it. It's just going to be crazy. I don't even care about the winner. I just want anarchy. I want chaos.
I'm not going to get too vulgar. Yeah,
you know how Colin feels about that, man.
But can you just imagine the bloodshed that we're going to see in that match? You got to think,
nasty.
Bro, it could really get gory. Like there's like John Moxley and Kenny Omega are enough.
Look, you blow that guy's forehead, or you blow on Moxley's forehead, bro. He's just gonna start bleeding, bro. Just like Ric Flair, like you just poke him on the chest, and he gonna just right.
And he's open. And that's the thing about John Moxley that I guess I like about him. He does not mind just shedding blood in the ring, no matter what. And based off his short little promo he cut after he cost the Blackpool Combat Club the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, he's going there expecting it to be a bloodbath. And the way that they've built this rivalry up there's going to be some bloodshed. And I'm excited. I mean, you talked about all the insane spots that we could potentially see from the Pillars Fatal 4-Way match. But I can only begin to imagine those spots that we're going to see when the Elite face the Blackpool Combat Club. I can't even begin to imagine. And I agree with you. I don't really care who wins the match. Because I feel like that out of all the pay-per-views, and just for the record, on this show, we call them pay-per-views. They're not premium live events.
Especially not in AEW. No. Those are your good old-fashioned. And for that price, that is a pay-per-view.
Yes, it is. But I feel like out of the pay-per-views that are happening this weekend, Anarchy in the Arena might be a match of the weekend. That's what I'm going there with the anticipation of.
If it ain't Styles and Rollins, then yes.
Excuse me. I'm really excited just to see the spots that these creative wrestlers can come up with. Excuse me. Especially because after we've seen the Kenny Omega John Moxley steel cage match a couple weeks ago, which again was incredible. Great match to watch. But now that makes me think about a potential finish. And it will make sense.
Go ahead.
Diane Callis, once again, cost Kenny Omega.
You know he'll get involved. You know he's basically a part of BCC now.
It would make sense. Mm-hmm. It would make sense. Or what they can do is he can make it sound like he is a part of the Blackpool Combat Club, and then they just turn on him again. They just knock him out again like they did before. The Blackpool Combat Club could do that. Mm-hmm. You gotta think about it.
What if that league Collins though? Like he's not going to help Kenny win.
He'll just kind of be out in the mix at that point. I'm not sure really where he really goes from it because he was here to manage Kenny Omega and Kenny Omega for that title run, which was an incredible title run when he was AEW
TV, maybe
something like that. It might as well. But I'm really excited for that match, and I know that we're only going to talk about those two matches, but so I just got to ask you about this match. Mm-hmm. Also, one where I expect some blood to be shed, but also have to be very careful. Unsanctioned match. The Ocho, Chris Jericho, against Adam Cole. Bye. Another match I'm really excited for, but I want your thoughts on it.
My thoughts? I mean, I gotta be honest. Like, I haven't really kept up with AEW on a week-to-week basis, but I did see the contract signing, and I saw Sabu just out of nowhere just pull up. And that's kind of got people a little divided because Sabu's, history a few years ago. I don't know if you know or not, but, he dropped the N-word or whatever. And, people are upset about that. But, other than that, just seeing him back on TV was just a shock, a surprise. And they kind of kept this original theme music. They had to remix it a little bit. But just good to see him out there, a man who's given a ton to this business, as Sean X-Pac Walton pointed out on Twitter. He's given a lot to this business. He's probably gotten the least back out of it than any notable name in the industry. Like, very underrated performer. Never really had the chance to be the guy in any promotion he was in. In ECW, he was, one of the premier, talents, but he wasn't really seen as the guy. But that's fair to say. So just to see him, it's good to see him. He's healthy. He's well. Again, he has his controversies, but yeah, I still ain't forgiving Hulk Hogan though. You tripping? I ain't forgiving him. Sorry.
That's another story for another day.
But yeah, this match, Adam's got to win. I feel like Chris Jericho doesn't need this. He's already established in AEW. He was the first world champion in AEW. He doesn't need this rub. Adam Cole, he showed up, got the big pop, then the same night, I think Daniel Bryan came back.
Mm-hmm. As Bryan
or he debuted. So it was like he kind of got overshadowed in his first night because, like, Daniel Bryan comes out right after him. And then it's like he kind of gets lost in the shuffle a bit, gets hurt, comes back, and he's kind of flying under the radar again. Maybe this is a guy who could potentially be an AEW world champion, and it kind of hasn't felt like it, like he could be that guy. So this is the match where you finally put Adam Cole, firmly stamp him on the map as a guy. Yes, he's not homegrown AEW talent. Yes, he's just another ex-WWE guy. But, before WWE, he was one of those indie guys. He was on NROH and PWG. Like, he was one of those, like a lot of AEW talents, kind of, not given the spotlight on national TV. Yes, he did eventually make it to WWE, but he really wasn't on the main roster. He was just in NXT. So in a way, he was kind of still like in the indies. It was just a super indie. But NXT, a lot of people, especially in that black and gold era, would consider, an indie. It just had the WWE, machine backing it. So finally, if you want Adam Cole to be a potential challenger for MJF, I think he's going to be down the line. If you want to build him up as a guy who can be a future AEW champion, this is where you do it. This is where you establish him. I don't know how good the match is going to be. I'm not expecting a 5-star classic out of Jericho, and it doesn't have to be because it's an extreme match. So it's like, be creative, give them a good ample amount of time, no less than 15 minutes. I'm not expecting Tony to give him a short match. Give him a good 18 to 20 minutes and just let Adam shine. Give him the win. Jericho, put him over. Simple as that. And then you can I don't know where you go from there. They may not run it back. I'm not sure when the next pay-per-view is. They kind of do it a couple months out. They separate each pay-per-view a couple months, in between. So it's like, I don't know how long you can keep that thing going week to week on Dynamite, but you got to establish Adam Cole sooner rather than later. You already got a ton of guys like Miro and Keith Lee that kind of just fell off to the wayside. We can't let that happen to Adam Cole too. So
I wish you
give
never
him this
left
win, and after you give him this win, keep the momentum going, please. That's all I ask.
I know we're getting ready to end this episode, but I just have to say,
Did I bring it up? So now you got to mention it.
I wish he never signed with AEW. I know why he did,
Keith?
and it was Keith Lee too, but he made more sense. I'm talking about Adam Cole. I know why he did it. It made sense, but he was just primed at some point in time to be the guy in WWE, especially now that Triple H is the head of creative. Triple H loved that guy, and I know this probably won't happen in the future, but it needs to. Damn it, the Undisputed Era needs to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't care if they weren't on the main roster together. The impact they had on NXT, the way they ran that company for almost 3 years.
I don't see it
Adam
happening,
Cole,
but I see your point.
Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish, and then when Roger Strong came aboard, and I know that's what they were going for. I knew they were going for that in AEW. You could tell they were trying to.
Of course.
They were trying to get the recycled version of the Undisputed Era, but Kyle O'Reilly still dealing with injuries. Bobby Fish already left the company. Roger Strong came over here too late because WWE wouldn't release him. And it's like, it's fun.
I'll tell you this. Listen, if he was still in WWE, he'd probably be the first World Heavyweight Champion, or at least be in that match with Seth. I guarantee you he would have been the guy.
Listen, man, you heard what Adam Cole said. You know what they do to make Adam Cole feel special? They ring the freaking bell.
Yep. I just saw that because they keep recycling that on Twitter. They just keep recycling that promo. But yes, and it's true.
Listen,
he doesn't need the bells and whistles. He doesn't need to be 250 pounds. He has cool music, but he doesn't need the cool music. He doesn't need pyro. He doesn't need smoke. Just let him work in the ring. Just let him work. He's one of those guys like Daniel Bryan, like he who shall not be named, who I named earlier. Guys like that who aren't superstars. They're just pro wrestlers. Like Adam Cole, baby, the boom. That's all he needs. And just ring the bell and let him work.
That's it.
Any final thoughts? We kind of did for a 2-man power trip show. We kind of did run a little long, about an hour and a half. But hey, our last wrestling episode got the most views, so this is probably what the people want to see. The hood watches wrestling. All right, they just don't want to admit it, but they watch. They tune in.
We're gonna keep saying it. I know y'all out there watch wrestling. You can deny it, but you watch it. Don't deny it anymore. Just come to the dark side. Just come to the wrestling fan side.
Like, come
It's
on,
all
man.
fun over here. We don't hate any of y'all.
And the ladies
we
are
don't
watching
dislike
it
any of
too.
y'all. Right. Everybody is
They're
welcome.
not judging. Ain't nobody gonna judge
Right.
you, bro.
Nobody care.
We all grown.
We all just want to. Right. We just all want to watch wrestling and enjoy it. That's all.
Oh, it's fake. Man, shut up. All your favorite TV shows and movies are fake. That's the point. The entertainment, male soap operas, whatever you want to call it. It's entertainment. It's entertaining as hell. When done right. When it's done wrong, it can get very stale. And it's like, what am I even doing with my life? Why am I watching this? But we watch it because of, it's just habit. And just hope that it'll get better in the future.
Yes, sir.
And that it'll just keep getting, it's been trending up. Especially in WWE, Triple H taking over. He is not perfect at all. But, it's been more digestible. I can say that. The women's division is still kind of like, what are we doing? But we still have two champions at the very least that we can sit there and say, yeah, like they deserve to be in those spots, whether or not their title reigns are going too long. But yeah, they deserve to be there. Like they've been built up. They've been given, maybe not the best of storylines, but all of their matches hit. Haven't had a bad match out of Bianca for a championship that I can remember. So Roman Reigns, yeah, that's getting a little long in the tooth, but guess what? Every time he shows up, it's the biggest match on the card. It's always like a cinematic experience. Just the entrance alone, like it shows that at least with his top guys, Triple H cares. He cares a whole hell of a lot. And I feel like Seth Rollins, to kind of tie it all up again, as the new World Heavyweight Champion, it's going to be that same feel. He's not going to get the title for 400, 500 days, but it'll be that same feel. So, with that being said, I'm Jonah Wooten, your host tonight with
the boy Kris, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Yes, sir. We didn't do a proper introduction, so we're going to do a proper outroduction, if that makes any sense. We are the two-man power trip here, episode 110. And also, make sure to check out episode 109. We brought it up earlier. Chris's Nuggets. They're in to the NBA Finals, first time in team history. The guys break that down. They break down the sweep. They break down whether or not the Celtics can maybe run the gauntlet and come back down 3-0. God, I hope not, but it is possible. And little LeBron in his retirement talk and all that. Also, episode 108, where the boys talk about the NBA draft lottery and Wemby and him going to San Antonio. They break all that stuff down. We talk everything on this podcast. Just about baseball is coming soon. I promise. Betting is coming soon. I promise. All right. Stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that bell for notifications for whenever we upload a new video. And that's it. Thank you. Peace.